following program is intended for mature audiences.
It's the music, movies, and shows you love.
As if we care.
And hate.
You ain't gonna like it none.
And love to hate.
I didn't expect that at all.
This is The Broken Remote.
And coming to you live on tape on this Monday, August 29th, 2022, where the Game of Thrones nation is losing their collective minds. Completely losing their shit. All because House of the Dragon did not make up an original theme for the show. They just went back and reused the old Game of Thrones theme.
You know, I didn't even know that was a problem people had, but me and my dad literally commented on that last night. I have not looked at anything until you just said that, and now I'm just like, I totally see that being a thing that people got upset about, even though it's stupid.
All over the internet this morning, people were pissed off. They lost their minds.
I mean, I'm glad that in this age of inflation and the stock market tanking on Friday, this is what we are upset about.
Oh, for sure.
How dare they reuse the theme from one of the most popular shows of all time? How could they?
We are a nation of idiots. Let's just be honest about that, right? So, I mean, of course that we can't focus on things that matter, growing China, growing Russia, massive problems, the entire economy being changed into a commodities-driven economy, global. This is like
you could get to the point.
My brain is breaking here.
Yeah,
but global commodities running instead of the global, corporate, nation. So what did the guy from France say? Who's their Marcon? That's his.
Marcon. Yeah, Macron.
He said
like macaroon, like the dessert.
Macaroon, right? He said the era of indulgence is over. Indulgence is over. So anyway, but no, we don't care about that.
No. Our nation is primarily, you could get all of us in iron chains around the leg, but as long as we can still go to the coffee room at our offices and make sure, as long as hazelnut creamer is in there next to the French vanilla, fully stocked every day, we will go.
I was a mocha fan. Hazelnut's okay though. But...
Yeah, hazelnut's okay, but they're gonna go, oh wow, this really chafes my leg. Oh, thank God they have hazelnut. I really like hazelnut. That's what I like to vary. Like, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday I do French vanilla, but I like to mix it up. So Tuesday, Thursday, that's when I do. Oh look, they're executing Jim outside. But what I really like to do is make sure that I have a little bit of half and half in my coffee, and that is just kind of where we're at right now.
We really are a nation of idiots.
Yes.
We really are. I love it. It's great. It gives tons to laugh about, but God, it's pretty sad. I mean, because when it all ends, and it will end in glorious fashion at one point. I might be dead. It might be my great grandkids, but whatever. It's coming because our nation cannot survive like this. I mean,
there was a wise man who said that you are going to die laughing. Like, maybe not necessarily in that order, but,
yes,
there will be laughter and then you will die. And that is how this nation will go down.
I hope it's flipped. I'd like to get the laughs in before I die or as I'm dying.
Just like quick chuckle as they're when they, finally bring back the headsman's axe right over your neck. You go, I knew it was going to go this way.
Yep.
And that'll be,
Well, people did not think that they were going to reuse the throne, the throne theme. That is for sure, because I can't believe it was his story. It really is fucking ridiculous.
It is. Story. I'm annoyed that that's an actual thing. But I will say, what I was more confused was, do you know what the opening was supposed to show? Because like in the first one, it was this really cool map showing like the different castles. What the fuck was that?
That also was a bone of contention for the fan base. Because they were not happy with whatever it was. Because they couldn't tell what it was. They didn't know if it was a map. They were trying to find all the little clues for the season. They couldn't do it. It was just blood in the streets.
Yeah,
and
that was what I thought it was. I thought it was like supposed to be blood or lava of like because like the whole thing's like there's that ancient nation that got blown up by a volcano basically is like the background for you non-virgins out there who haven't spent way too much of your life reading this like I have.
Exactly. Get thrown laid, buddies.
Yeah, get thrown laid. Yeah, come on.
Buttheads.
How are you supposed to have sex with the 300-pound women that are way too into this show like I am? I mean, come on.
There you go.
We hang out in book clubs and talk about what Harry Potter houses we want to be sorted into. That's the important issue that my generation's focused on.
Go dive in and get thrown laid, guys. Come on. Here we go.
Get thrown laid. Come on. Be fucking cool, you fucking losers.
Yeah, no protection. Just go in there raw dog. And get right in.
You use one of those book covers, like the things that protect the cover of the book. You use that as protection instead of any, actual contraception.
God, another thing that got ruined over time was the fact that they used to make you do the old paper bags, right, to cover your books.
Yes.
And then they finally were like, you know what? Somebody can make money if we just put spandex over the books or whatever. And then they started
and it does nothing. It does absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and now I don't even think they do any of that. I think they just give them the books, and they're just like, abuse the shit out of them, rip them up because our school board will just buy new ones.
Yeah,
charge to the taxpayers. We don't care anymore. But it was
that's what my mom did. She was one of the ones who used the. She was old fashioned. She used the cardboard stuff from like the old grocery bag. That was great.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the old grocery bags, you turn that into your cover. It gave you a canvas for all of your, little, random thought, tidbits all over the place. You got your tic-tac-toe. You draw your name 8 million times. Mm-hmm. It tapped into the artist in all of us.
No, but see, artists aren't allowed anymore. We need to become as standard and blasé of a nation as possible. That is why you are.
We're working on it.
Kids used to draw. Now I want them to either be playing Snood on their iPhone. They're given at 3 minutes old.
Oh my God, Snood! Yeah.
Remember
I forgot about Snood.
I fucking love Snood. Oh
Holy
my God.
Shit! I gotta pull that up. I completely forgot about Snood. I used to play it all the time.
Yeah, everyone loved Snood.
Is it still around?
I'm assuming. I mean, there's like 50 million knockoffs of it, so clearly it's like a good fucking game.
Snood was so great. Oh man, I mean, it wasn't sex, but it was close to it. It was fucking really good.
It was close to it. Everyone enjoyed it at some point.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Great way to pass time up.
That's how we bring the nation back together. Is we just reintroduce Snood into the lexicon.
Exactly.
Well, finally.
I mean, Snood into the lexicon, Game of Thrones back into our lives. It's funny that you and your dad were thinking the same things that everybody else online
without any
were moaning about,
Yeah, clearly it got people. I will say, though, I did like this episode, but this was, like, relatively boring, though you can't have all the awesome shit happening.
I mean, I didn't think it was boring. I thought it was okay.
It's not boring.
A good compliment to the first one.
Yeah, that sounds really harsh, but I don't mean it in that way. Like, I don't need like there just to be dragons and heads getting cut off every episode, but it was kind of like I kind of like those episodes the best because me and my sister were rewatching the original show yesterday, like the original Game of Thrones, like season 1.
Right.
And there's just a lot of like the scenes where you're like, oh yeah, this happened. I don't need this in my life. I don't need this in my life. There's something about like the weird like political machinations of all the character when they're like South Park made fun of it where they're walking through the garden and they're like, I hope you realize that of course that if we want to get Xboxes, we're gonna have to betray Sir Cal. And you go, like, there's some of those scenes that's just my favorite part about that show. I don't know, like all of it's cool.
No, I got you. I mean, there's
it's
part of it.
Slow burn.
See, it was too slow of a burn for me originally. I mean, remember I had to watch the first episode of Game of Thrones, I think 5 or 6 times. One of the two, just to get through it, because it really was slow. I mean, it was like they didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, I was like, okay, this guy from I knew him from Ronin. I don't know, now everybody knows him from Game of Thrones, but Stark, Stark, right?
Yeah, he's in
Ronin. I don't know what else.
You've never seen Lord of the Rings.
No, I got to catch up. Yeah, I got to catch up on that.
God damn it!
I just know it from Ronin, which is a weird deep cut, but it's a De Niro movie that I love. Have you ever seen it?
No, I've never seen Ronin, but I've seen like everything else that he's been in. Sean Bean's the fucking man.
Yeah, De Niro. It's a De Niro vehicle. It's called Ronin. It's got a bunch of guys in it. It's got an awesome car chase scene, very reminiscent of China Connection. I think that was the follow up with Chinatown. French Connection. French Connection is the movie I'm thinking of that had old school famous car scene. Ronin had something very good to it. I got that mixed up with Chinatown.
I want to say was made by that. It was an amazing movie made by that amazing director who may be a complete pervert and creep.
Well, and the follow up to that, which was My Two Jakes,
which was not good.
Which was not good. Yeah, nobody
not
liked that
good.
one.
Yeah,
Chinatown good. My Two Jakes not good. But
I had
anyway,
to watch that. Ron Polanski. Yep.
Yeah, Polanski. That's right. Yeah.
I wonder how he's doing. Where's he living these days? Yeah.
Can't touch her. See you, buddy.
Yeah.
I don't even know, where is he now?
Not in the U.S. because I think he'll be arrested.
Well, no, he would be. Yeah, that would be it for him.
I feel like weirdly bad for him because obviously what happened to his wife with that nonsense. I have to imagine, because he went through the Holocaust and then that happened. I can't imagine your fucking brain is not scrambled.
Yeah,
have you ever seen those?
I mean, he's off, right? But it was probably why he made good movies, right? I mean, usually artists are fucked up in the head quite a bit, which allows them to tap into those far reaches of the cranium that we can't get to as normal people.
Or a 13-year-old. Okay, I'm going to stop that joke right there. But
you're funny.
Good job.
See what he did there, folks? See what he did there?
Ha! Ron Polanski's a creep. But yeah, that was a good episode. I was I like all the characters.
Yeah, right. I was worried about the characters. Yeah. That was one of my worries in the beginning, and they're good.
And there's a segue at one point for one of the characters that I'm going to use to something else that you saw that I have not. But like the main girl protagonist, I really like her. Like she's just a really good, she's basically kind of Daenerys, but like a more.
Yeah, I mean it's Daenerys 2.0.
Yeah, Daenerys without the victim complex or whatever.
Teeth. She's got the weird teeth.
I'm into the teeth.
Really? They're
I don't know why.
They look fake.
I know.
They look like hillbilly teeth or something.
I know what I've done.
They're kind of like crooked forward,
Listen. Just because she can open a can of soup without a can opener,
there you go. There's a little horsey.
There's something about it. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. Okay, in case you ever listen to this, call me. I've got nothing going on. I'll ride that drag with you. But I'm very curious where this is going to go. I like all the characters. I'm very kind of fucking pumped. As someone who knows exactly where this story is going to go, I can't say shit to anybody.
Yeah, you really can't.
Which is
especially not
infuriating.
me, because I haven't read the books.
So my dad was, we were talking about some of the characters, and he's like, oh, this is really great how they set this character up to do this, and this character to do this, and then I'm like thinking the whole time as people are telling me like their theories, I'm like, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong.
I mean,
you're so wrong.
It's got to be two completely different viewing experiences for somebody like you that have seen it, and now you're actually seeing it artistically portrayed on your television screen, to somebody like me who I don't even know the story. So to me, I'm just like, okay, I know what happens down the road, but this is
so it's not even like regular. It's not even like the first. So the first series was a little like there were books where the characters were speaking to each other, and you got this first person perspective from a bunch of characters. So you like saw their thoughts and their views on and then you'd see it from different. So you'd see like Tyrion talking about something, and then Robb Stark talking about the same thing, but from his point of view, and it was really interesting. And this one is really just like a bunch of essentially bullet points of what happens in this time period that George R. R. Martin wrote down. So they're really expanding the shit out of it.
Yeah, which is a good thing.
Which is awesome because they're. I don't know how, because he basically did the same thing, is my understanding, for the ending of the original series. And they fucked that up royally. Meanwhile, this one, they're basically just taking bullet points like, okay, let's add all of this dialogue and this drama and shit, and it's great. And I'm loving it.
It goes back to what we were saying past two episodes. Backfilling a story is a lot easier than going forward with it. Yeah. And I think that applies to anything open-ended. I think it's just tough to end something. Here you don't have to worry about it. You just gotta fill it. I mean, everybody knows where it's going.
Yeah, right. And all you had to do is not infuriate a mass of billions of virgins across the entire world, and people would have liked this show. All you had to do was do a fine enough job, and they're doing a good job. They're doing, I would say, almost great.
I was worried about the characters. The characters are fine. They're actually borderline entertaining. The acting is on par with what I came to expect. They're not really, there's not a whole lot of acting to be done here. But, I mean, when it's there, people fall through. Who is the Black Valerian? I should know.
Damon Targaryen, Matt Smith, the former
No,
Doctor
not
Who.
Matt Smith. The little
Valerian.
African-American Valerian. Right?
I don't remember.
Or is he not? They're Valerian. They're Valerian.
His
right?
wig, I will say, his wig in episode 2 was so much better than episode 1.
That's right.
Oh my god!
You were very passionate about the wigs.
It was so bad in the first one, and now it was. I was like this. Like this, I can see being his hair. There we go.
What the hell is it? Something with a V, right?
Yeah.
Keep going.
Valerian's his last name. Let me look. I'm sure the first thing you're going to look up is his actual Valerian.
All right. Anyway, as we continue, but like I said, he actually has some acting chops.
Yeah, he does.
I don't know who he was. I don't know where he came from or what he was doing. Corliss Valerian, right? So, an actor's name is Steven Toussaint, but. He's got some, and then obviously by the end of the episode, that he's going to line up with Matt Smith. Matt Smith's holding his own. He's doing some heavy lifting here. So when they're in scenes, they kind of own them. They do well, and so the acting's good. The characters are good. The story so far is good. If there was one thing that's got me a little concerned after watching the second episode, it's the time jumps. Because
they said 6 months a couple times that beginning.
Yeah, and it was. They made it. I wonder if there's another way that you could do it where it wasn't 10 minutes, 20 minutes into the episode, and I'm just kind of like, oh shit, they're 6 months ahead. Okay.
Yeah.
Because he's like, she hasn't talked to me. I'm like, yeah, well, of course your daughter hasn't talked to you because your wife just passed away. And
I was
like,
kind of assuming.
6 months. I was like, oh,
it's been 6 months. It's like, oh, that's different.
Okay.
I'm assuming that. I was kind of assuming because if what's going to happen is going to happen that I think it is, like there's going to be some much larger than just 6 month time jumps soon enough.
That is what they said, and I actually think that some of these characters have a second actor or actress to take over for their role.
I think the main girl is played by someone else, right? Doesn't she get swapped out soon?
As far as I know. I've tried not to ruin it. I've only heard it on podcasts and people talking about it, so I know that something to that effect happens. However, I don't know who the characters are that change, right? So
I think there's two of them. Yeah, there's Rhaena Targaryen.
Yeah, she's out, right? I think there's.
I think they're swapping a new one in.
Yeah, I think there's a second actress maybe that takes over for her.
Yeah, I'm looking now. There's two women that look very similar.
And
who I'm assuming are going to be.
Corliss's kids have a switcheroo of actors and actresses.
I am looking now.
The son and the daughter.
It looks. There's one of the daughters looks older in one of these pictures.
Yeah,
so I'm assuming,
that's the one thing that I have a little bit of concern about. Only because it looks like the way that they want to do this directorially is that they don't want to do it with a preface before the episode or some kind of
yes, they do swap it. Okay,
verbiage on the screen to alert you as to where we are now compared to where we were then. So they're just kind of assuming, I guess, that they're going to do it verbally through the show, through the dialogue, like they did here, where they're like 6 months, 6 months, 6 months, 6 months.
Yeah.
All right, we fucking get it, with 6 months. But I just didn't see it coming, and because I didn't know the show, I knew there were time jumps. I didn't know it was going to be like this. 6 months isn't that big of a deal, but depending if they continue to do 6 months, then a year, then 2 years. I don't know how it goes, but it's one of the things that I'm a little concerned about. But it didn't really hurt the storytelling all that much. It's interesting that now they're starting to factor the dragons in as well, because obviously Rhaenys's dragon is a fucking badass. The red dragon.
Yeah.
That's hers.
Oh yeah, Caraxes or whatever his name is that I hate that I know the name of. Yeah, that's kind of
Yeah,
weird.
that's fine. I mean, whatever it is. I mean, they mentioned it, and when she came in, everybody else was like, "Whoa, we're fucking done."
I'm looking up the actors right now. The actor who's playing like the leader of the King's Guard, the Graham McTavish. He's fucking awesome. He's in all this fantasy shit, and he's really cool.
The right hand. The hand?
He's the guy in the white armor, not him. No, he's like the guy you'll see like guarding him every now and again, the old bald dude with the beard.
The one that went with Rhaenys to go interview the
that dude.
The knights.
He's like in The Witcher, he's in Lord of the Rings. He's awesome. I love him. He's fantastic.
Sir Harold Westeros.
Westerlingham looks like.
Westerlingham or whatever it is, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have enough Westerlegs.
Yeah,
oh
right.
my god.
He's got a
Westeros,
I'm looking at his
Valyrian.
headshot, and he's got a really kick-ass fucking beard. Looks like a badass, drinks fucking whiskey just straight out of the bottle.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy. He looks oh my god. Okay, so that's gonna be cool.
Now Matt Smith as a Targaryen, does he also ride dragons?
Yeah. Matt Smith was the guy who rode that cool red one that we were just talking about. Yeah, no, Daemon. He is Daemon.
I thought. Hold on. Am I getting all my fuck?
Yeah, I think you are. Yeah.
All right. So who did Rhaenys come in on? Was it a gold dragon?
Yeah, she's on like that gold yellow one. Yeah, okay, and then there's Matt Smith who's Doctor Who, and he's on that really cool looking red one.
Okay, he's on the red one. Well, the red one obviously plays second fiddle to the gold one, right?
No. Did you see it? The red one was way bigger than the gold one. The gold one's
really?
it's like a newish one. I think it's like kind of like fresh dragon just out of the egg or something.
Oh, okay.
The idea.
All right. I can't figure it out. But when she came through, everybody backed the fuck down.
So my interpretation is
I thought that was because that dragon could have fucking burnt everybody to a crisp. But again, I don't know.
My interpretation of it was he was like because it's like they're close clearly. With each other based on the first episode. They like each other, and he doesn't want to hurt his niece, who he really likes. So she kind of played that card mainly, like, "Hey, what the fuck are you doing?" Like when your family comes in to kind of check you for being an idiot. Right. That was my interpretation of it. So she was kind of like showing her balls, and he's her uncle, and he's a little miffed with her, but he does love her, and so he's like, fuck, fine, you're right, I'm being stupid. So he threw the egg. But he's still like clearly pissed off at the other people for probably good reasons, because maybe they're not that good. Maybe everyone thinks that he's the bad guy, should be looking at, I don't know, all those other fucking characters. I don't know, just saying.
So Caraxes, you're correct, is the red dragon.
Badass red one.
He rode by Daemon now, but he was ridden previously by Aemon Targaryen, right? And I guess his nickname is the Bloodworm. Now, hers is it Vagar? Pilot Vagar's appearance in the series.
Vagar is like this gigantic fucking dragon that'll be coming in later. They haven't shown it yet. No, it was one of the original 3 dragons that they had. Okay. It's like the Big Mama. It's the Big Mama dragon. Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, whatever it is. I mean, there's the Syrax. Is that her name? Syrax? Yes. Okay. So the yellow one, you were correct, is Syrax. And so that's the one that she drove. So she's got the gold dragon, and Daemon's got the red dragon. But I was under the assumption, seeing her fly in, that the gold dragon was badass or something. But maybe it wasn't. Who knows? Then they went through the whole thing about stealing the egg because he wants to have a kid, and he married a whore. Or he was going to.
No one's ever done that in Game of Thrones before.
I lost a tooth. I married a whore.
Oh, shucks.
and then she gets all pissed because, they called her a whore, and she was like, what?
Yeah.
But, I mean, they're putting the chess pieces in play for, obviously, the future episodes. The part that you had mentioned in last week about them just marrying each other's kids and sisters and nieces and nephews, I thought that whole part walking through the the garden with the guy's 14-year-old daughter was super weird. And really
weird.
Right. And I mean, I guess it's part of the storyline. The whole
It's
thing.
part of the storyline. Well, what's weirder that you have to realize, because even though it is super fucking weird to us, that was like so fucking of the norm back in like those types of time periods, which is so nuts. Like in the books,
see, I'm not a history
happens.
buff, so
Yes.
I mean, does that really happen even back in the day?
It happened,
or just in Fantasyland back in the day?
It happened all the fucking time. It is so creepy.
It's like, really
wasn't,
creepy.
It wasn't every single one, and like they would wait. Like the whole point was like, you'll wait till you're 14. Like that was basically like, well, he's 13. He's a man.
Right.
Like,
you won't have to bed me until you're 14.
Yeah, exactly.
The
like,
only saving grace in this regard was that, the king has his moment of, you know what?
This is creepy as fuck.
This is even too young for me, right?
Yeah.
Like we all got our perv switch, but there's also limits to the perv switch. So,
I did love that everyone looked at him like when he was like, I'm choosing the hot girl who's probably just turning 18.
and they're like, kudos,
how
congratulations.
Could you? And like, I understand. Like,
well, the only people that were pissed was her house.
Well, I mean, the king's doing it mainly because like he does need to remarry. He needs more heirs, and he's also like, well, this is a hot piece of ass. That's like,
Well, that was
size me up.
That is the underground chess game taking place right now because his hand put her there, and he told her to do this, and she's going along with it. Now, whether or not she's really into it at this point, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that he did turn away the 13-year-old, I was like, whoo. We got away from that one, thank God. Because even if I'm floating around on the internet and I'm trying to find my bikini models and my lingerie models and whoever else might fit my bill, and they've got some good algorithms. So Instagram, you go to the search and they show you what you might like, and sometimes those options are a little young. They're a little young. You got to stay away.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what FBI is looking down my phone, and I don't know, all of a sudden I'm getting arrested in front of my kids, and it was like, for what? And they were like, child pornography. And I was like, I wasn't doing anything. Instagram was showing me these 12-year-old girls. I was actually trying to get away from them. So I'm with the king. You got to walk away sometimes. It's just too young.
Yeah, it's gonna be fucking interesting. Oh, I'm very pumped for this fucking season. I'm looking at all the background info right now. Like, oh shit, this guy's
so the hand's trying to get involved, right? So he puts his daughter there.
Yeah.
The other family obviously tried to put their daughter there, but they got the door in the face.
They got snubbed.
Correct. And so
how dare they? Yeah, God.
And then you
got
and I got to get her name right. Rhaenyra. And
Rhaenyra, I think Rhaenyra and Rain. Yeah, I'm glad that the two main female characters have literally the same exact 5 first letters of their name being exactly identical. Oh no, 6. I'm sorry, my bad. Yeah, Rhaenyra, Rhaena, and Rhaenys.
Rhaenys and Rhaena.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, Rhaenys is the old one. Rhaena is the young one.
Right.
Okay, there we go. Thank you for making that very easy for me, George R. R. Martin.
There you go. It's like it's like the Star Wars universe, right? They're trying to come up with names that are different and unique and out of the world, but still acceptable. And there's only a limit. There's a limit as to what you can do. There's only so many names that you can actually pronounce, make sense, and your brain can say, "Oh yeah, that's a name." Before you're just not making sound. That's not a name, right? I mean, but that's where we're going because there's only so many names out there, right? So
yeah, it gets too much of it. Like at some point.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do. You're gonna have to reuse Han at some point, and then everybody's gonna freak out. It's gonna be Game of Thrones theme 2.0. You reused Han in the Star Wars universe. How could you?
This is
it was a cool name. Somebody's gonna name their kid after Han Solo because he's fucking famous. What do you expect?
So here's a question for you: does this make you excited for the Jon Snow sequel series they're making?
Oh no! Why would I?
I was gonna say
the sequels are infinitely harder to do than the prequels.
Yeah, I'm like, because I'm so excited again for Game of Thrones now. Like this definitely reawakened that whole that love I have not felt for this in years. And I would love something that gave me a better taste in my mouth ending than what season 8 did. Yeah. And that's what I'm kind of banking on, but should I be?
Well, let's make ourselves TV executives.
I mean, they already had the theme song figured out for it. Granted, so
right.
that'll be great.
They'll just do it again. So
Da, 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 da. Yeah.
if we were Game of Thrones executives, right? We're HBO. We're the owners of the property. If you seem to hit, a triple, much less a home run with this series, you build up the goodwill with the people again. You let Kit Harington get older. And then 4 or 5 years from now, when this thing is in season 3, then you throw the sequel on top of it, right? He's got a little bit older. You've got a little bit more time to figure out exactly how we're going to piece this together. Because I have a feeling that when they get into that, they're going to have to fix the fuck-ups from the series finale. Right,
yes.
I would imagine the Night King comes back in some way, shape, or form.
That was exactly what I was thinking. Like, he was such a just pissed away fucking antagonist, and
Right.
I don't get it.
And they have the Star Wars universe to show them what not to do, bringing back a big bad.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it turns out the Night King cloned himself right before this all happened. You didn't see this part yet. Yeah, and they'll have when Supreme Lord Snoke appears out of the ice. That's going to be great. Everyone's going to cheer for that. I just know it.
Yeah, no thanks.
Game over, man.
Yeah, that's what it would be. You can't do that. But, I think they have enough information as to what not to do that they could try to do it correctly. Now, let's rewind back to Game of Thrones. Couple of things that I wanted to mention. The crab feeder. Crab feeder,
whatever it was, the pirate dude.
I don't know. Were those scenes supposed to be grotesque, or just comically,
just to show them,
or just kind of comically annoying?
I think it was just to be because I don't know. I think this is super cool. Maybe this is just me because I'm weird and my parents live down the beach all the time. But crabs are so fucking just gnarly with what they do. So I was personally like, oh, fuck, that's what crabs do to people. That's just me being a 5-year-old kid again.
Well,
I think it was also to show how genuinely serious that one dude was. It's like, hey, this is a fucking problem. And then the king's like, wow, that sucks. Anyway, you go.
Yeah. Well, it does seem like he's a shitty king, right? It just seems like he's a fat, rest on my laurels type king.
He's just very passive and he doesn't want to upset anybody.
Yeah, doesn't want to piss anybody off, right?
Yeah, there's a quote that's good men can be bad leaders and bad men can be good leaders or something like that generic. And it's just I think that kind of fits for this dude.
Yeah, he's a terrible president, right? I don't even know which one you would equate him to.
So we're not talking about politics. We're not talking about politics.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you gotta bring them. You gotta have some kind of modern day analogy, right?
I'm low key gonna make a bowl of ice cream while this is happening, but keep going.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Like a Herbert Walker Bush, right? George Bush, the original George Bush, right? So soft, didn't want to anger anybody, and just didn't have the nuts.
Yeah.
So kind of like that. So, but yeah, when I saw the crab eating thing, it was kind of like, that would really suck.
Crab people. Yep.
That would really suck to be sitting there and just been munched on very. It's kind of like Chinese water torture, but it's crab water torture.
Yeah, but it's crab torture.
Crab torture.
Oh God.
And just sit there and been like, at least get in between my toes where it's really fucking itchy instead of just picking at my cheeks.
I felt worse for that one dude who's taking a nap on the beach and he wakes up and he's just got a giant crab-shaped hole in his fucking chest. And you're just like, oh, damn it.
Now, they were tying them down.
First I forget sunscreen. Now I'm getting eaten by crabs.
The hits just keep on coming.
Damn this beach weekend. My wife was right.
I forgot the sunscreen, but the fucking crabs, I guess I should worry about that first.
Did you remember the aloe and the crab spray? Fuck me. I forgot the old...
you forgot the crab spray?
Yeah, wait, is this Old Bay seasoning? Does that work?
Old Bay seasoning, good on everything.
Good on everything.
Including the Utz crab chip, which is a fantastic chip.
If you don't have any food at the beach and you're starving and you left Grandpa out there cooking all day, little Old Bay and you're good to go.
That's it.
Little Old Bay.
I remember when my roommate from college was like, "Oh yeah, Old Bay. You never heard of it?" I was like, "Nah, not really." And he was like, "Oh, you know, had a cookout, threw it on a bunch of stuff. This stuff great." And he was like, "Yeah, you got to try the Utz chip." And I was like, "Oh, I don't even know what this is, but yeah. Sure."
And both
Salty
are
as can be. Oh, complete game changer.
Game
You gotta
changer.
stay away
Fuck
from me.
you,
'Cause
Lays.
I'll rip through a crab chip bag in like 2 seconds. Very grotesque.
Yeah.
So as I'm doing the rewatch here, you know, the crab thing, I just didn't know what to make of it. Now they were tying them down to the ground, right? They were locking them down there just to get fed. So I mean, annoying. It's an annoying death for sure.
Yeah. Not on my top 5. I will say that. Like, definitely not on like instant electrocution.
Right.
know.
Not like
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not male. Yeah. Not head being crushed by 8-foot tall giant man who says horrible things about my family before he crushes my skull. That's not in the top 5.
Sure. If you were to start throwing things from movie lore into the mix here, we could go, you know, Joe Pesci crushing the guy's head in a vice in Casino. That's way worse. You know, ripping fingernails out. You know, that would definitely hurt more. The human centipede. Easily worse, right? I mean, who wants to have their ass sewn to, or their mouth sewn to somebody's ass?
That was the movie I needed to think of. Yeah, that was when I mentally blocked years ago from ever having existed, and now it is just right there, in my head.
Did you watch it the whole way through?
No, I didn't even watch the movie. I literally just saw clips because my friends and I in college saw that episode of South Park, and we went, "Where did they get this idea from?" And then our other
you didn't
friend
know
went,
where it came from? Okay.
Oh, you haven't seen this? And it was
Yeah.
just like that 2 Girls, 1 Cup where you hear about it and you go, what is this? And then
Exactly.
your one friend pulls it up and you go, oh my God. And you just kind of like you wish for a COVID that kills more people when you see that video because you're like, humanity's done. Like, we just need to start over from scratch at this point.
Well, there is something to be said about the human centipede because it just wasn't that good, right? And after the initial shock factor of the scenes in the movie went away, nobody's ever rewatched that, right? Like, Nightmare on Elm Street came out, people freaked out. You know, whatever. Michael Myers in Halloween, people freaked out. Friday the 13th, Jason Voorhees, people freaked out. I mean, and those became IP properties. They made...
Well, those will capture, like, something that, like, people are genuinely uncomfortable with in some way, shape, or form. So, like, you know, what is Freddy? What is his name? Freddy something.
Freddy Krueger. Yep.
Yeah, Freddy Krueger. He's like, you know, how like, you know, sleep paralysis and nightmares, and Jason is like this other like fear you have in the woods and that shit. And then Human Centipede is just like, what if
it's just
your mouth was on someone's ass? And now it's just like, and kids do that for fun now, and it's just lost all of its bite.
That's true.
Which they couldn't do because their lips were so to the ass, so they couldn't bite down anymore. Full circle.
There's no
just
shock
like,
value in anything anymore.
No, really was quite disappointed. God, how am I supposed to?
Right.
Gross.
It's why, you know, the porn industry has become what it is, because after a while, there's just no more shock value. It's all been done. It's all out there for you to see.
Yeah, what are they going to do? The next big hit in porn is going to be like them sitting down to do a serious interview for some 9-to-5 job, and it's going to be some guys who like, it's like, oh my God, look at her fucking Microsoft Excel skills. Oh my God, she's so good at creating that pivot table. Oh, this would make my day go by so much faster. I could get out at 4:30 instead of 5.
I mean, there is a fetish for everything, brother.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing with Deshaun Watson, right? I mean, Deshaun Watson, you know, he ends up losing, you know, 11 games this year for the NFL. A big, huge, all of last year, big, huge deal. Why? Because as a multi-million-dollar athlete, it's not enough for him to actually hire prostitutes to give him a massage, pretend that they're a masseuse, and then get paid for it. He actually has to fly in normal, everyday people just to try to win them over and then pay them in the spot and turn an actual massage into a little, you know, hanky-panky.
Oh, how classic. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, I mean, but like I said, the perv switch is out there everywhere, and everybody has their fetish of some way, shape, or form. And, you know, I mean, eventually, you know,
mine's cheating on my taxes.
There it is.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, all right, back to the Thrones. You know, like the crab feeder, that was one thing. The other thing that We talked about it last week too, and I'm going to bring it up again. The maggots thing on his hands, he's dying.
Yeah, did I miss?
I mean,
oh, he's definitely dying. He's definitely dying. Yeah.
Like,
But like, I thought I missed this scene because that just came out of nowhere where like his pinky was fucked up, and I was like, did he
I didn't
cut it
see
in an
his
earlier
pinky.
scene?
Did they show it, or all of a sudden they were just like, put your hand
His
in
pinky,
the maggots?
his pinky was like bandaged and looked black, which is why I say that. But I thought I missed this scene where like he fucked it up somehow because it was just such a quick like throwaway. Like, all right, put your hand in this maggot. It's going to eat the dead flesh because part of you is literally, I guess, melting from the inside.
Well, literally,
I thought I missed something.
His doctors are straight from Fauci's fucking crew of doctors.
No, that is Fauci. You didn't see it from Anthony from House Fauci.
I mean, really,
they brought him in.
These guys went to the same college of medicine as they're just like, last time they were like, oh, sir, we'll cauterize the wound and that will end it. And now he's fucking 6 months later, his fingers, falling off, and he's like,
their version of a C-section is to just cut the wife in half and just shake the baby out, and you go, I don't think that's how this works. It's so strange. I think the baby might be dead, but maybe we can save it. And
Fauci
he's like, what are you
School
doing?
of Medicine.
Yeah, the Fauci
We'll
School
get
of
it
Medicine.
eventually. But yeah, they were like, oh yeah, okay, so cauterize the wound. That didn't work. Okay, your fingers, maggots will eat off the dead flesh, and then it'll stop. And at one point, it's going to be like,
which I think was an actual. I'm no doctor. My friend's a doctor, but I have not asked him this question. I think it was an actual thing they did, where they would have maggots eat the flesh. Yeah.
But at some point, you got to be like, hey, Dr. Bob, we cauterized the wound, and maggots ate off my pinky, and now my nuts are falling off. So what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you need a fourth booster, sir. We'll figure it out. We're just going to take piranhas, and you're going to see.
Actually, did you see the latest study was that if you want to truly get rid of COVID, what you need to do is you need to make sure you're part of a really closely knit communal sort of line. So Fauci's recommended that you sew your mouth to the anus of anyone you live with.
I have not heard this.
And this way, the way you're so connected to each other, it completely removes the 6-foot gap that you need to stay with other people because you're basically one person now.
That's right. And I would imagine by that, if you were really, really close, depending on how close you were and where your mouth was, maybe you could just, the ills of one body go through to the next, and you slowly develop antibodies to basically everything.
Listen, they say there's herd immunity. Well, you don't need to have herd immunity if you sew all of the human race up together into a gigantic centipede chain.
Maybe that fucking director had something.
And that's how we do it.
Maybe that's what it was.
You didn't notice that it was produced by the the National Health Organization.
No, I didn't.
NHL,
I mean, that fucking director was actually ahead of his time.
Yeah,
the guy's actually a genius.
Yeah, they filmed it on location. They filmed it on location in Wuhan. I mean, come on. How did you not pick up on these small subtleties? Come on.
I missed the Wuhan part. Well, I think the doctors here in Westeros came from Wuhan too, because their maggot things aren't working. Nothing seems to be working for this guy. He's dead, obviously. So, I guess they're not, they're medieval doctors, so they don't know what the hell it is. But the maggot scene did come out of nowhere.
That was fun.
A little grotesque. I guess we're to, just take in that he's dying, and it's going to be some timeline that's undefined. Now, obviously, you as somebody that read the book, you probably know when he's going to kick.
Yes.
Right. For the rest of us, we're just going to wait, and that's going to be a little screwy because obviously, 6 months we went from hole on his back to maggots eating his pinky. So I imagine, a year from now, it's going to be like one arm.
Listen,
right?
My current thought is that he's just going to explode into a ball of pus at some point in the next episode. Like, there's just no way.
Toxic Avenger style.
Just exactly, just whatever. He's just like, oh, and he's gone. Because I don't know how else he's going to get through this. Yeah.
So, so he's going to be gone. There's going to be, obviously, the fight for the void left by him. But, a lot of pieces in place to make for entertaining episodes to come. Now, this season is what, 8 episodes long?
I think it's 10.
Is it 10? Okay, so
I think it's
I
10.
mean, whatever. It's always 8 or 10, right? So, and I mean, they have done a lot of work in the first 2 episodes without being overtly boring, right? I mean, you kind of knew the dragon. As soon as everybody paused and you listened, you knew that it was going to be Rhaenyra coming up on the yellow dragon, and she did, and it was a pretty kick-ass scene. And then they had a nice dialogue. I thought that scene was pretty captivating.
Yeah.
You know, going back and forth, her just fucking beating her chest, being like, "Dude, you're not fucking with me, right? Like this is me. You know, I'm taking this shit over whether you like it or not." And he knew his place too, right? Damon backed down, so I mean, he was a little bitch boy. You know, he threw the football because he was all pissy. I say football. I mean,
literally, yeah. You basically, you're right. You're right.
It was
You're not
dragon
wrong.
egg football. Yeah,
You're not wrong.
So
He's a cool character. He's gonna fuck shit up. So I'm excited for him.
now how does the dragon egg work? Do you know at all? Because you know the literature.
Oh man, so I'm not gonna don't quote me on anything here, but I think the general idea is like so they have like their bloodline, because it does kind of matter, has like some magic that's connected to dragons.
It has to be, right? Because they said they were going to put it in the crib, and obviously that probably would lead to it. So these eggs just sit dormant until whatever connection happens brings them about, right? Which is kind of what happened, I believe, in the first season of Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah. So like there's like, and that's like a whole other, like no one's like officially sure except for George R. R. Martin, but like the idea is that they're basically like they and like a dragon are supposed to be like kind of like born or like bonded together, and that's like a big sign for like who they will be as a person.
Which is what Damon was talking about, in the conversation.
Yeah. But you don't, like, because the dragons live like 200 years, and this is like the Middle Ages essentially, where if you get to 30, that's like a good ripe old age.
Yeah, for sure.
And so dragons, because they don't really have that problem, like you can. Like a dragon usually only likes having one person be its rider, and like a person will only have one dragon that they hang out with, basically. So it's like a one-on-one situation, but that's going to be a problem maybe later on if there's like, I don't know, maybe a really big dragon that's much bigger than all the other ones that is only bonded to one person who may not be cool.
So, speaking of that, now you mentioned the size. Historically speaking about the dragons, outside of the size of them, do they also give them like character traits in the books? This dragon's really offensive. This dragon's a big giant pussy. This dragon is a badass.
Yeah, they have that. They don't.
This
get,
dragon
like,
likes to laugh. I don't know.
Yeah, they do have that. They all have like kind of a personality. So even like the ones that are in the original Game of Thrones had a personality, but they didn't really show it.
No, definitely not.
They didn't show it in the show really at all. But like, I guess they kind of did like the big black one. That's what she said. Not me.
There it is.
Yeah, haha.
That's not what I wanted. I wanted the fucking rim shot. God damn it, Rich. You fucked that one up.
But
You are a stupid asshole. That's exactly what he is.
Suck.
Great. But
a great one-liner and just fucking destroyed by terrible sound drops. All right. Anyway.
But they all have like a personality, kind of. And so, like, some are more chill, some are more angry, some are kind of they're kind of like different species of dogs, where they're just like some dogs. Are just cool.
For sure, they are the dog equivalent in this show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just a gigantic, fire-breathing, snake-like, flying dog creature.
Right.
That's also a nuclear weapon. Yeah. Yeah, so really one for one. Really easy to describe.
Well, I mean, this whole thing is just going to be about the dragons, so it would be nice to know of them a little bit more, rather than just eventually watching dragons fly in the air and watching them burn each other and fight and all the rest of it, and you're just kind of like, I don't know, it's a fucking dragon. That one's the red one, that one's the yellow one. I don't want to spend too much time on the dragons, but I do want to know a little bit more of them, because if the stakes involve the dragons in play, I don't want to lose out on that.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I like how they make all the dragons actually look different now, because in the original series, like, they all looked exactly the fucking same. Like, their one was just a little bit more green than the other one, and the other one was a little bit more like...
Well, there's only the 3 of them, right?
Yeah, there's only the 3 of them. They looked exactly the same, and now I'm sure they'll be like... It just looks better now. It looks better. They look cooler. I'm more into it.
Right. They're like droids in Star Wars, right?
They're like droids.
They're like
Yep.
droids in Star Wars, but they're
You're
big,
not
gigantic
wrong.
dragons that are pretty kick-ass.
Yes.
So, and then obviously this whole thing ends with the kicker to the next show, which is that Corlys is going to team up with Daemon because now he's all pissed off that the king didn't choose his daughter, and he's pissed off that the king isn't helping out, his seamen. And they're possibly losing their trade routes, which doesn't work well for their family trade business. So, he goes to him, and obviously that's going to be problematic. So, exciting things to come. Exciting things to come. I thought it was good.
Now here's my segue I wanted to ask you about.
Go ahead.
Well, we're still kind of on House of Dragons before we transition, but I really like the main character, like Rhaenyra or whatever her name is. I think she's a perfect example, and even like the older woman are like really good examples of these like strong female characters that are kind of fighting against this like male-dominated culture that so many other shows try to show off very unsuccessfully.
Sure.
Which leads me into every clip I've seen of She-Hulk this last week.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that show, dude? So I've not watched the full episode, which is like, a cardinal sin, but Jesus Christ.
It is, I don't want to say it's a mess of a show. It's just, I don't understand what they're trying to accomplish with it, right? Because they have they're trying to make all different kind of genre shows out of the superheroes. And like we talked about, that kind of ruins the superhero aspect of it because now you have different styles applied to the same universe. So, I don't know, if like one's a comedy, one's a pseudo-comedy, and then one is it. Like, how do you ever get serious about any of it, right? Because you're kind of like a mix-mash everything, which is why, the Deadpool series stood out because that was its main focus, right? It's like I'm making fun of myself plus everything else related to the superhero fucking world. So they have made She-Hulk. It is a female superhero character. Obviously, Jennifer Walters. She is the cousin of Bruce Banner. We covered all this. But I don't know what they really want to do with it. Now they want her to be stand on her own 2 feet as a superhero character that I guess we're supposed to understand, like, get behind, be into. Now, it's not really like a girl power thing. It's definitely more of a comedy. But again, I don't necessarily understand the stakes of the show because it's really easy to do. Like, just randomly make somebody a Hulk by insert reason here, and then have her keep her day job, just have somebody else hire her as a lawyer because she's the Hulk, and then comedy ensues. And so that's basically what happened. Fucking Hulk, by the way, out. Peaced out. He is gone.
Oh, he's gone?
Onto a spaceship, out the door.
What?
So, she makes a phone call. She fills him in on everything that's happening. And he says, I'm really proud of you. I jumped in for an episode just so that the people had something to watch that they knew about, which was me, because nobody knows who the fuck you are. And now that we've accomplished that in an episode, I'm good to go. So I'm gonna be out of here and you're on your own. And so that was it. So he was out. So once again, the fucking Hulk character, which really has become an abomination, not the abomination, a abomination, ever since he lost to Thanos in the first Avengers Infinity War movie, continues to do so, as now he's not even in the picture anymore. He took off on the spaceship that they crashed in. So spaceship comes down to grab the Hulk. They crash. Hulk makes She-Hulk out of his cousin, teaches her what to do in an episode, 30 minutes, mind you, and then the next episode, he's out the door. And so he is on the spaceship that they crashed in, and he's going off. I imagine that is Secret Wars or Secret Invasion, and that's going to be that storyline. So you're just going to see Hulk sporadically throughout the rest of the MCU, basically doing Mark Ruffalo and popping up here and there. And
Yay! That's exactly
Hulk.
What I wanted. Oh my gosh!
He's not the Hulk.
Less of my.
It's infuriating. He's not the fucking Hulk. This is not the Hulk. This is not what the Hulk does, right?
Yeah.
This is not the Hulk. Like, even in the smart Hulk, storylines, like, it's gone too far. It's just stupid. Like, get rid of it already. So I just laughed when that happened because I said, of course they do that with the Hulk, and they'll bring him back, and he'll be speaking to aliens in the next one, and it's like, we don't get the Hulk. He's not wrecking shit. He's not a threat to the entire MCU, which is what he should be. There's not going to be World War Hulk because it's just going to be Mark Ruffalo fucking making liberal jokes.
No, it's going to be him. It's going to be him making some TikTok rant or something like that.
It really is. It really is infuriating to see what they're doing with it. And hold on, and this is going to be kind of weird. I want to go back to House of Dragons. What was going on at the end of the House of the Dragons with the person that they showed?
I'm assuming, which was weird to me. I'm assuming it's going to be the dude on his dragon just fucking people up. That's what I thought the last scene was about to be. Okay,
all right. Yeah, the guy in the mask. That's not him, right?
I think that's one of the pirate dudes, right?
Yeah. But I think that's like the badass pirate dude, right? Like, is that what that is?
I'm assuming
we're gonna find out who that guy is. That's like
they're just gonna. I mean, that just so they don't.
He's the crab feeder.
It's probably that's probably just the director. They don't want to pay another actor. They just put a mask on him. They're like, there you go. Yeah, cheap. That's how we save money for more dragons.
Right. So, I mean, they probably should have done that with She-Hulk because the CGI is terrible in She-Hulk. So, anyway, the Hulk is not the Hulk. They have made this superhero out of nowhere. And I don't know. It's not really girl power that's part of this show.
Power, yeah.
It's just bad comedy. They call it a comedic show. I have not laughed once. There has not been anything funny in it at all. Minus the one line that they gave Mark Ruffalo where he acknowledges that he's not Edward Norton.
Yeah. Oh, he says that?
Yeah, he says, I'm a completely different person now. Literally, I'm a completely different person. And it was like, I see what he did there. He's not Edward Norton.
What a great show. Oh, I'm so glad.
And then they throw in Eli Roth at the end. He's the Abomination. She's going to be his lawyer. She joins the superhero legal team. But she can only be the She-Hulk when she's a lawyer. He doesn't want her to be Jennifer Walters. Mm-hmm. And that's it. And then Abomination's going to come into play somehow. I just don't know how. I know Daredevil's in it. He's going to come in somehow. But again, I just don't know the stakes because it just doesn't make sense, right? So Hulk's gone. She's a She-Hulk. So everybody knows her. It's not a hidden fact. She's well known by everybody. She's kind of like a jokey token superhero joke. And I don't know where it goes. I don't know who the big bad's going to be. I don't know how they're going to make it serious. That's the problem.
They're not.
I mean,
they gave up. Yeah.
And they don't have to. But again, if you don't have some kind of seriousness or a big bad or something to fight against, I don't know what you're doing. Like Three's Company in the MCU.
It's going to be her joking around with that bad guy who's evil Hulk from the first Hulk movie that they ignored, but now they're not. And
Nick Nolte as the dad.
Yeah, they're gonna do that. They're gonna do a cross country adventure. They're gonna go to a diner and they'll have an argument, but then realize they care about each other. Go back and smooth things out when they go to a Six Flags. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, well, she sits there and constantly wrestles with the fact that nobody likes her as her. They only like her as She-Hulk, right? So it's kind of
what a shame.
You don't love me for who I am. I get it. We all get it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a storyline that hasn't been done 8 million fucking times.
I was going to say, I've never heard of this before. What?
It's so dumb.
This is dumb. So original and new.
Yeah, and so as you watch it, you can hear the clock ticking in the background on the MCU because I don't know how you get yourself out of this because it has just been, a solid 2 years of garbaggio. And, you need something. You did Endgame, you pulled it off, and since then it's just been some small success. You had a bunch of singles and a whole lot of strikeouts, pop-outs, and you're just not getting what you need to keep the general public engaged in this world. I mean, look at you, because we used to talk about MCU constantly.
Yeah,
you don't watch any of this shit anymore.
It's so boring now. Like it's just it doesn't have an identity really anymore, except for just these fucking like jokes.
Yeah.
Like I'll watch an old '90s movie if I wanted to see something actually good.
Well,
but just
I laugh with my brother. I do a podcast with him about football, and
Yeah.
I've always said you can't make sports funny. Sports is not funny. Like there might be a funny thing that happens in a game, but it's usually something arbitrary. Like the cat runs onto the field, and then Kevin Harlan does a really great play-by-play of the cat just running across the goal line like he had the ball, and it was really funny, right? But that was a random event that happened, and then a play-by-play announcer that's just quick thinking on his feet. You can't make everything in sports funny because it's just not, and you can't make comic books funny. Deadpool, you might because you're lampooning the entire industry.
You can make it funny. It's just they're just so overdoing it, and it's just completely taken the play. Like it's not a superhero movie anymore, and it's not a comedy movie. It's this weird bastardization of the two, and I would rather just have one or the other.
Yes, I agree.
And it can't do either well anymore because all of the cool heroes are kind of gone. Like you've either made their movies already, or you've just exhausted me by them to this point.
For sure.
And now they're all being replaced by like their like second banana versions that no one has like any connection with. Like, I'm sorry, but I don't know any little kids that had a fucking Ironheart themed birthday party.
Exactly. She hasn't even come into it. She's coming up though.
I know. I saw her armor because they were like releasing shit for like the new Black Panther movie.
Sucks. Right? It sucks.
It looks so dumb. Let me look it up now so I can get mad.
It's terrible. It is beyond terrible.
Armor League.
And so while you look up Ironheart,
this looks so dumb.
Oh, you got it pulled up? Yeah, it's awful.
Dumb. It's so stupid.
Beyond awful.
Yeah, no, she's a girl boss, dude. She's a girl boss. What are you talking about? No, it's
I mean,
just why? Like they have like costume versions that you look like Samus Aran from fucking Metroid. Like Jesus Christ.
Yeah, there's no. It's funny.
Which
she
is
does.
cool
God damn it! Good call, buddy. Good call.
Yeah.
That's exactly. She does have the Samus Aran, whatever the Metroid look.
It doesn't even look like. But
it
looks so dumb.
I just, here's the thing, right? Punchlines, I hate to say it, right? I mean, I know some people like good, wholesome comedy. I don't think that it really exists, right? Like, good, wholesome comedy might be around. You might get somebody that pulls off a clean punchline, but usually 75% of really hard-hitting comedy, laugh on the floor, get the entire fucking crowd giggling, kind of comes from a dark place. Not all the time, but most of the time, right?
But it can, yeah.
Or something offensive, or something, that is aggressive. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be mean-spirited. It's just aggressive. There's a difference between being mean-spirited and aggressive.
Yeah.
And, like, the problem that Hollywood has right now, and I think what you're seeing in the MCU, is that trying to do good, wholesome, clean comedy is goddamn near impossible.
It really is. It's the fucking Thor thing, because I saw a clip of the goat thing, because I was like, I need to see what everyone's talking about here, because all of my friends wouldn't shut up about it. Have you heard about this?
No.
Like, there's a joke in the Thor movie. There's this goat that keeps interrupting everything people say, like every 5 seconds, apparently, for like way too long. It's like a bah! And you're like, it's like supposed to be like I'm saying something serious right now. Bah! Jane, I love bah! Like it's that stuff.
And that's what they try to do.
Do you know what that's from? That's from a fucking Taylor Swift meme from 10 years ago.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Which is just like, how? How have you not seen this? I was over this 10 years ago, dude.
Again, and then you're reusing something that isn't original, so it's not original to begin with. You're just reutilizing something that hit at some point, right?
Yeah,
which I can't think of, but there was something recently that I was watching, and I was like, holy shit, they just took Leroy Jenkins and just used it over again. They just didn't call it Leroy Jenkins. They just did it on their own, right?
Leroy Jenkins.
Which is fantastic, right? I love Leroy Jenkins. But when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's just Leroy Jenkins. But, I mean, whatever. Funny is funny. It's not funny because it's already been done. But, I mean, there are ways that you could pull off, humor in the MCU having a little cutting without being super offensive, right?
They used to
they
do
just
it
don't want to
all
do
the
it.
time. Yeah,
Kind
like
of.
the first
yeah.
Iron Man was
Iron Man. Yes, exactly.
It's just such a perfect example because like that movie had like it's just here's this sarcastic rich boy playboy asshole,
misogynistic
and then
out the wazoo.
Exactly, just complete douchebag, and then it's all of a sudden is him like as a prisoner of war in Afghanistan in a fucking cave.
Right,
and
but even like Pepper Potts telling the girl, trash goes out on Wednesdays or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I mean, there was like some biting comedy in it.
Yeah, exactly. But they also they balanced like this genuine, serious story of like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen. Like you knew he was going to be fine, he was going to get out of there, but like there was still like death, and there was like stuff played seriously, and the character clearly was like being challenged and forced to grow because of it. And now it's just like, I can't believe that Iron Man is using the TikTok while he's fighting the new bad guy. Hold up, I need to post this on my Instagram story while I'm fighting Thanos 2 half robot version. And you go, that's comedy right there.
Oh, and you were talking about Thanos. I was just watching the end of Endgame before we started our podcast. And I was just thinking about it again. I'm like, yeah, this Thanos really doesn't know anybody. Will's right on that.
Right? Yeah. It makes me so mad to think about when you're like, this isn't even like the same Thanos. This is like weird discount. That's like, Mom, can we have the cool Thanos as our bad guy? No, we have Thanos at home, and it's that meme where it's just like this discount dollar store version of the Optimus Prime you wanted your mom to buy when you're younger. Instead, she gets you a fucking GoBot or some shit like that.
And for the Mad Titan to just come on to Earth and say, "I'm going to love throttling this place," neither him nor his army seemed to have any lick of strategy in their entire offensive.
No, remember how like the whole point of like his character for the last like 10 movies was like this intricate planned strategy he was kind of doing from afar.
Fucking none of it.
And then like they even said in the first movie the reason he ditched his armor was because him gathering the stones was like a religious experience.
Right.
And you're like, I totally like this guy's like he's treating this not as like this evil warlord, but like this kind of Buddhist monk climbing up the mountain to find enlightenment in this really weird, twisted way that was cool. And all of a sudden he's like, and now back to my regularly scheduled bad guy.
Right. It's like, we're just going to do it just like medieval times. We're all going to line up, your guys versus my guys. We're going to run at each other, and we're just all going to stab each other to death.
Yeah.
For a technologically advanced, group on both sides, it didn't really. There was no strategy.
The pretty rocks. I want them. Let me go through this portal that I have done no recon through for no reason because they're trying to undo what I did, even though I can already like preemptively prevent them from doing. I hate time travel so much.
Yeah, I know. We'll get. I'll tell you what I hate. I hate the lack of originality. Unoriginality. I don't even know what that is. Whatever I'm trying to say. But and as I turn on WWE, as we wrap up the show here, they have a pay-per-view. They don't call them pay-per-views anymore. They call them premier events.
Yes, that's way nicer. I like that much more.
Yeah, well, there's no more pay-per-views, right? Because they just want everybody getting the WWE network, so they don't call it a pay-per-view.
As a dumb consumer, me like that. Me want that much.
Like it.
Yeah.
And so I turn it on, and they have an advertisement for their pay-per-view premium event this Sunday, or Saturday, whatever it is, this weekend, in Wales, called Clash of the something, Clash of the Clans, Clash of the something.
Clash of the Clans? Isn't that a game?
It might be a video game, but it was Clash of something. Clash of the Castle. That's what it was.
Oh, Clash of the Castle.
Clash of the Castle, and I get it because it's in Wales. But sure enough, as they pull back the camera, what comes out of the left side of the television screen? It's just a big dragon who then opens fire and opens his mouth and breathes fire.
Yeah. Oh, it happened, guys. They're referencing my favorite show.
Oh, my God. It's just like, come on. Seriously? Clash of the Castle, and we're going to throw in everything related to Game of Thrones because, I don't know, that might be going on right now.
Speaking of Game of Thrones for one last little bit, and Marvel, because this does tie in together, there is that one Marvel movie that I've not watched yet, nor only one friend of mine has seen it, called The Eternals, where they got a bunch of Game of Thrones actors in it.
Couldn't pay me to watch it, but I have not seen it either.
I have heard. So I have one close friend who's watched it, who is one of the most forgiving people about movies I've ever met. Like he's like, Leslie, that's some good things. Like I like some parts. Like he'll usually open with that when he talks about it. He hated that movie so much.
Yeah.
He
But
watched
it's
it.
going to be part of what's going on.
It's apparently huge from
Yeah.
what I read. Like, apparently it is a new cornerstone of like the Marvel background bullshit lore, which is
Well,
just
because
like,
again, I think that they're going into space. I think they're going to have Secret Wars. I think Galactus might be a part of this, and I think they're just going on a whole new, higher, a much more elevated plane. And so I think they're going to have to use all this shit because they're off of Earth now, right? The Earth one happened; it's done.
Earth's boring. I'm tired.
Yeah, I'm tired too. No doubt, I am exhausted.
I have to,
to be
tie
honest,
in. I have to tie in all of these stories together.
I'm tired.
I'm tired. No, it's a new Earth now. I'm tired. It's another timeline.
I know.
They used the pseudo stones, which are basically
ridiculous.
Infinity Stones, but they're not them, and they're like for some reason no one cared about them until right now.
Yeah, I can't think about it anymore because it makes your brain hurt. Because
it really does.
For something that had such a clear, defined path and a driver that knew what they were doing, it is just rudderless at this point.
Yeah. My favorite, because I saw like a thing of Loki where they're like, oh, Infinity Stones only work in your universe. Yeah, we use them as paperweights around here. I'm just like, they took the coolest element of Marvel where it's just like, oh, here's this legendary like power source that could do anything. You have to be very careful, and there's all this cool, untold story potential behind this object, and instead of like, no, we don't need it anymore. We don't need this perfect MacGuffin to explain our bullshit. We're just going to say science. We scienced it. Fuck it. We're done.
Science.
Yeah. Which is somehow more acceptable to them than this rock did it.
Well, they're tired. Everybody's tired. I don't want to think anymore.
I'm tired today, Rich. I'm tired. I can't think of a story for my billions of dollars we rake in every year. Oh.
All right. Well, let's put our brains to rest then. And then we've got, Labor Day next week, so we'll probably have to do it on a day other than Monday.
Yes.
So we watch on Sunday.
And Lord of the Rings next week.
Oh, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do some Lord of the Rings watching so that I can watch that show and I'll know what the hell I'm talking about. So I've got about 9 hours of movie to watch.
It's a project. Yeah, I would strap in.
I'll get there. All right,
it's
cool.
good though. It's very good though.
Well, we've got a lot of good stuff going on, and we haven't even touched on things that I haven't even watched. Like, I think Tyson started, and there's some other shows that started.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and there were some other things that I watched that I was going to mention, but we'll do it another time. So.
Yeah.
All right, for us here at the the Broken Remote Pod. Listen to the Broken Helmet too.
I feel like I have a broken helmet. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Broken Helmet, great scene in Star Wars, by the way. Obi-Wan Kenobi, probably the only good thing to come out of that show was the Broken Helmet scene. So, but anyway, Broken Remote, we are out of here, and we will talk to you next week at some point. So enjoy your Labor Days, Willie. Enjoy your holiday, and we'll talk more next week.
Woo. All right.
Wuhan. Stay away from it.
Wuhan.
Peace out.